Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of Van Helsing on Syfy. I want to apologize for the lateness of this review, but, got out of work, just a little before 12 o'clock last night, so I unfortunately had to miss the initial airing, but I just watched it on demand today when I got up, and this was episode 4, Coming Back. And I really, really like this episode. You guys know I've really, really been enjoying the show so far. I really like the first episode. The second episode is even better. Third one even better than that. And the fourth one, it's just getting better and better with each episode, I think. And I wish more people were watching this because I think it's really one of the best shows now, just based off of 4 episodes. I just even loved from the opening scene of this episode with Rebecca, which we'll talk more about in a minute. But just the vibe and the feel that gave off, I really have a lot of faith in this show. I think it has a lot of promise. And just as a fan of vampires and horror in general, I think the show is actually pretty well excelling at that. And we're actually starting to feel for some of our characters a little bit more too, I think. And I really just love the show already. I'm completely sold on it. I'm already wanting to buy it on Blu-ray. Okay. I really hope it gets a second season, though. It deserves far more recognition than it's getting, I think, and I'm happy to be supporting it each week. So Coming Back, overall very good episode. And I also Syfy has this a red logo now instead of their usual white. I don't know if that's just for Van Helsing or if it's their Halloween thing or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, red Syfy logo definitely works for Van Helsing while that's playing for sure. Just thought I'd mention that. And then we get a scene of Rebecca to open the episode with, of course, her being one of the ancients along with Dimitri. They're the only two as far as we know. But before that, we see where they're actually, living, where they're actually, their lair, in a sense. And I just really like how that looked at night, with the volcanic ash, that mixing in with the darker sky and such, because, of course, nighttime. And then we see that there are humans in the area and such, but then we find out later they're essentially, blood bags and slaves. And, it makes sense that they would take over that because that they would go about it that way because, even with humanity dying now, they still need them as a source. So it makes sense that they would use them as such. But we see Rebecca, and she has this human lover. It seems like, I don't know if she still derives pleasure from, human intercourse, but it seemed like she was, strangely curious about how this guy was, reacting to her doing certain things. I don't know. Pretty much he was just a toy to her, if anything, though, just to, maybe satisfy her curiosity above anything else. But it was kind of weird, she was just kind of staring at him as he was moaning, and she was just, thrusting in certain ways. It was weird. But, still. Best part easily, though, is when she cuts his throat open and just goes all out and just feeds on him. And I'm still very happy with the amount of blood we do get to see on this show. It is still Syfy on a cable channel. So there's still only so much they can show, but I think they're really doing a good job of giving us a good amount of it anyway. I've talked about that before. And then we see this woman, she is crawling through the vents in the background, and she actually sees Rebecca, doing whatever with this guy. And I don't know if it seemed like Rebecca, heard something back there in the vents or something, but does Rebecca now know someone was watching her? Because that's definitely going to play into how this whole revolt or this whole push it back against the vampires at this little area is gonna play out, because we do see that the humans that are being used as blood bags are actually trying to plan this, of course, push back. They have this idea they're at basically this oil refinery almost. They're not oil refinery, but I forget what you call it, a plant. I don't know. But of course, it creates smoke through the smokestack and stuff like that. They're using that as a way to cloud up the sky even more so, because apparently the volcanic ash is starting to become a little bit lesser. and the sun's starting to come out a little bit more than it has for the past while. So you have to kind of get concerned about that and sort of use the humans to like actively, push more smoke out into the sky so they don't have to worry about it as much. And of course, a group of humans, they actually have this idea to sort of stage this thing where they actually go and shut that down. Of course, that would probably easily get them all killed, though, especially when you have characters like Rebecca and probably Dimitri there as well. But I feel like we're going to see this little rebellion probably get squashed at some point this season, because I feel like Rebecca probably knew someone was watching her at this point, and it seems like the woman who suggested that vent as a way of getting to the building, I think she was found out by Rebecca, and I think they're going to kind of cut them off when they do try something. But we'll see. Either way, it's probably not going to work, though, unless Vanessa gets there and she tries to help them out somehow or something. I don't know. But yes, really cool opening scene, though. Again, it was very creepy, very eerie. I liked how the place looked, especially during the opening scene at night. I just think it looks really nice. It has a really good atmosphere to it, I think. And it gives me quite the anticipation, to see some big shit eventually go down here, most likely. And we see Doc, she was going through, quite a bit of, recovery, throughout this episode, because, yes, she's human again. But at the same time, she still kind of carries certain memories with herself from her time as a vampire. And she sort of has this conversation with Flesh about, how she was apparently actually spared from the worst of it because she actually didn't tear into anyone. She doesn't have to think about like a life she took or what she did to that person. But then she really talks about how she still feels the effects of being locked up for so long and things like that. Two very different types of trauma, but really, Flesh has a lot more shit to think about, from what he did to his family and such. But still, two very different types of mental trauma there for sure. I'm actually getting to like Flesh quite a bit more as well. I think the actor's doing a pretty good job. And I also really like his scene with Sam in this episode where he describes what it was like to be a vampire. And Sam sort of gestures to him if he misses it. And, he didn't really show his answer for that. So, of course there are qualities to it, though, too. Enhanced reflexes, your pain gets taken away and such. So, no matter what we really think of it, we can't deny that there are, like, certain, like, draws to it that humans would really, like, crave or really desire no matter what. There's always that part of us that would want something like that. So I thought that was kind of psychologically interesting. And I also found Sam to be pretty interesting in this episode as well. He's one of the characters I'm eager to find out more about. And I think he's played very well too. He sort of has like that silent strength about him I really like. And we also see in this episode that I forget what the girl's name was, but the teenage girl, she actually ends up being hung. And at first it seems like a suicide, but we find out as Doc, looks at her body, there are actually like strangulation marks from the way the rope was around her neck. And so there's really a murder mystery, and we don't really know who killed her by the end of the episode. I have a feeling it was the other blonde woman. She seemed a little bit off her rocker since the first episode. And she seems most defensive and like, she's accusing everyone else, so I feel like it might be her. They could have it be Sam, have him be like the creepy, giant serial killer or something like that. That could be his twist. But I'd prefer if Sam was, if Sam remained as like a good character with more of like a tragedy behind him. I don't want him to be like an evil villain or like a serial killer or anything like that. But of course this just makes everything in the group that much worse because John's accusing everyone as well. And, of course, he accuses Doc, and then he accuses Mohamad, who had one off with Vanessa. We'll talk more about that in a second. And so Doc thinks it's a race thing, accusing both of the Africans. And, it could be, because it seems like John might be the type of guy to sort of go off on a racist tangent like that. I don't know, though. But either way, tensions are pretty high. And if they weren't already at each other's throats, it's that way for sure now. And Axel, he was going to go after Vanessa right away, but Doc had wanted him to stay there to sort of like maintain a sense of order through it, because if Axel had left, he's definitely their main defense. So if he left, that maybe this person would actually come out and pull off more show without him around to do anything about it. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. And then we also had Flesh sort of telling Doc about Julius, how he actually enjoys terrorizing people, sort of like the sick satisfaction he gets from it. And then he also mentions these ancients, of course, being Rebecca and Dimitri, but I'm sure our group will find out more about that as it goes. And yeah, so I talk about the layer with the humans and such. And another note about that body is that the finger is also missing, so it seems like it might be some type of serial killer in the bunker for sure, taking it as like a trophy of sorts. And although that was happening, right before that happened, Vanessa sets off a small fire, sort of lure them away, and she goes off with Mohamad to the outside, of course, to look for her daughter, and Mohamad sort of wants to help her out and go on the search with her because he's apparently also looking for his sister. And I really liked Mohamad in this episode. I think I actually really liked his chemistry with Vanessa. I like that he's getting more of a role. He seems to be one of our most good oriented characters on the show too. He seems to have a very good heart, and I also really like the actor who plays him too. He's interacted with me a little bit on Twitter, so that's pretty cool as well. But the cast as a whole seem to be very interactive with their fans on Twitter, which I think is awesome. Just to even give your fans a little bit of a connection like that, I think it's really cool of them to do. But yeah, I talked about that before. Anyway, yeah, so I like the way they connected. Vanessa mentions how she was a bus driver, so she actually knows her way around the city, which would make sense, but Mohamad sort of counters that by saying, she doesn't know, like, this new Seattle like he does, just all the broken down, ruined areas, as well as mixed with the attention of vampires everywhere and stuff. So he has a point there. And, let's see. And we also had Axel, of course, he looked more into the murder, and, he didn't want to just point the finger at Mohamad, and so he actually talks to Sam about it. But he still had to look into Mohamad. He had to go into every possible angle, really. And Sam and Mohamad always seem to be hanging around together. So he asks Sam how well he actually knew Mohamad. And when he gives Sam the note, from Mohamad about him leaving, Sam seems kind of broken up about it a little bit actually. But it seems like he understands why he went out there. So I'd like to find out more about these characters' connection. But again, I don't think Sam did it. I don't think Mohamad did it either. I think it's either going to end up being the other lady, I don't know her name, but the blonde, sort of, doesn't like anyone. Or it's probably John, I think, I'd say. But, yeah. So. Sorry, voices in the hallway. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see, Vanessa and Mohamad end up going to her old apartment that we've seen in the first couple episodes, or mainly the second episode, I should say. And of course, they find the blood stain from when Vanessa sort of semi-died in the from what we've seen in the flashback, and she ends up. Gotta let my cat in, guys. Just give me a second. Oh no, she's going in the litter box. It's been a while since she's interrupted me like this too, but hey, why not start it again? Just give me a second, guys. I apologize, but anyway, we go into the old apartment, and we get actually a very touching scene with Vanessa looking at the photo of her daughter, and I just want to really praise Kelly Overton's acting here. I think she was already a very strong and capable lead, and she seems to portray the emotions of Vanessa very well. I think we can all connect with her. I think she's a fairly relatable character so far. And when we've seen her crying over the photo, I felt it. I almost started tearing up a little bit, I'll be honest. So I thought that was a very well done scene. And I also liked the lighter moment after that, though, where we've seen Mohamad and Vanessa getting along. I think it's really adding to Mohamad's character. to see him like that, and they sort of joke around about Adam Sandler movies and stuff like that. But yeah. So, looking at my cat. Letterboxd is my room because no one else wants to smell it. Oh boy. Anyway, I'm gonna try to finish the video. Yeah, so I really liked all of that. And Axel, he finally did tell the others that the girl was actually murdered. This of course is a risky thing to do because it could easily cause unrest, more dissension among the group, and just more like paranoia and such. And they really don't want to have to turn on each other at this point, but it kind of had to be put out there. I don't really know what she was doing there. But let's see, that's when John sort of starts accusing everyone. I told you how he accused Doc and such, and Sam actually pins him down on the table here, just like easily overpowers him. And then John sort of talks about, oh yeah, we have to worry about him. And Vanessa, she ends up saving this small group. Mohamad doesn't really want her to intervene because that would just draw a lot of attention to him that they really don't want. But Vanessa just really wants to help out, and she just wants to jump down the throat. She wants answers from wherever she can. She's not really caring about her own safety, or what she could mean for everyone else. She really just wants to find her daughter however she can, even if she has to die in the process. And one of the actors here, who played who's playing like the main, male character they found, is that he's been on The 100. He's been quite a few other shows as well on the CW. So it's kind of cool to see him here. And of course, Julius is told that Vanessa is near, and he sends vampires after Vanessa. He tells them to kill the others, but bring her to him. And then we actually see a little bit more of his mother, apparently, who's also a pretty creepy looking older vampire for sure. And she sort of urges him to, instead of delivering her to Dimitri, keep her for himself, because apparently there's more of a dissension or like a struggle for power among the vampires. Apparently Julius was apparently on top at one point, or at least among like the higher, ranks among them, probably closer along lines to where Dimitri and Rebecca are. So his mother sort of urges him to, keep her for himself, to use that sort of like leverage against Dimitri most likely, which I found to be pretty interesting. And I really like how he's playing Julius so far. I think he's definitely one of the most intimidating characters on the show, even more so than Dimitri, really. Even though I'm guessing Dimitri is probably more powerful, but he definitely has that presence to him for sure, too. Let's see. Vanessa then ends up having Mohamad leave her behind to help the group because she knows what was probably going to happen. There was just going to be complete slaughter to get to her. So she sends off Mohamad with the rest of the group to get him back to the hospital. And we actually see Vanessa fight off quite a few of them. It was actually a pretty cool little sequence. She, blasts quite a few of them with the shotgun. And she actually is able to slice a couple of them, but they actually do end up overwhelming her and just sort of like pinning her to the ground. And they put this mouth guard on her, which is kind of different to see, but of course with her bite, they know about that. And then they seem to bring her back to Julius. So yeah, that was it. That's overall what happened in the episode. I think it was a very good episode, probably my favorite so far. But then again, each episode of Van Helsing has just been getting better and better. And it's really already one of my favorite shows going right now. It's definitely one of my highest priority shows right now already. I really recommend you keep watching the show. I think it's showing a ton of promise and it's delivering. I think it's going about 13 episodes this season, which is good. It's a decent amount. That's kind of like the average amount for a lot of shows. I really hope it gets a second season already. It really does deserve more of an audience though, because the first episode, that during the like the special airing back in July, that got about 1.24 million. The second episode, Seeing You, that got 0.83, and then the episode last week it only got 0.66. So I'm kind of worried about it ratings wise, but hey, at least we're going to be getting about 13 episodes out of it. I think the wiki's only listing 11. So 11 or 13, it's a decent amount either way, I think. But I really hope it doesn't get canceled. More people need to be aware of this, so promote the hell out of it. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to give the episode about an 8.8 or an 8.9 out of 10. I just really enjoyed it. I loved it, really. And I'm just really eager more than ever to see where it's all going to go. So yeah, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later for my Z Nation review, as well as an updated video on how I feel about Fear the Walking Dead and the Season 2 finale of that as a whole. So I'll catch you guys for that later. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace.